The second of the 7 irrefutable laws of power is to master the primal instinct. Now, what in the world does that mean? It means we have to master our relationship to food. A lot of people said, why? Why is this one of the laws of power? Like, how does food give us power, or how do we lose power through food? Well, for most of human history, food came to us from the market, from the farmers. It was picked, and then we came and we sifted through it, and we consumed it in its raw form. And for thousands of years, we were a pretty healthy species. We've gotten to a point, though, where in some countries, up to half of the people are obese and are sick and are having all kinds of issues. And why? It's because of the food supply. Now, in my own life, I did not follow this law. As you'll find out about me, I learned most of these lessons the hard way. I just pounded all kinds of things and drove my body like it was a machine that I was going to burn out quickly. And there came this one point when I started getting this little impression that I needed to stop eating some stuff that I was eating, and I kept on going, I kept on taking it, I kept on eating it. And the impression got a little bit stronger, and I kept eating it, I kept eating it, I kept eating it. And I ignored it, and then one day, like something happened, just something shifted, and I got sick. And I was in bed, and I tried to sleep it off over the weekend, and I got back up, and I got even more sick. And I ended up spending a month in bed. Couldn't take any calls, couldn't work. I was so sick, I went to doctors. They're just like, we don't know what to do. You know, they couldn't tell me what to do about this. I had this horrible pain in my gut, and I spent most of that month, I'd sleep all day, and then all night I'd be awake with this horrible pain in my stomach, and I would lay upside down on a couch and watch Bob Ross on PBS and watch him paint all night long. And I was in this, I shriveled down, I lost 23 pounds. I was just skin and bones. And I was so weak, I couldn't get up a flight of stairs. I was freezing all the time. I had to wear all these sweaters and coats. And one of my friends saw me in this space, the only time I left during that month. And I went out and I lost my voice. I was like a little old man with no strength left. And he saw me, he says, "What happened, man? You look like you're dying." I said, "Yeah, I've been really sick." And he says, "Come and stay at our house for a week and you'll be better. Just come and eat with us." And I was willing to do anything at that point. I was desperate. And I went to his house for a week, and I ate his food. And within like 3 days, my body felt 100% better. Within a week, it was like 97% better, except that I had lost all that weight. It took a little while to gain it back. When my family saw me, they couldn't believe it. They said, "This is a miracle. What did you go and eat at their house? Was it some kind of berry from the Amazon or some kind of crazy remedy that you took that healed everything?" I said, "Yeah, it was a miracle. I ate food. Food that wasn't processed, food that didn't come from a box, food that didn't come from a can. I drank these green smoothies. We'd take spinach and kale and apples and bananas and oranges and strawberries. We'd blend them all up, and I would drink gallons and gallons and gallons." And what happens is when we take away what doesn't serve our body and we fill it with what it actually needs, we get in alignment with the natural laws, and we experience well-being. We experience power. And if you want to create power in your life, you have to learn how to run this machine so you can have this recurring energy and this recurring power. What's the challenge that we all face? Our food supply is not what it used to be. One of my clients, I do a lot of business consulting, one of my clients produces tens of millions of pounds of products for dog food. And so I help them with the strategy work, and it's a lot of fun working with these guys and selling a ton of dog food. But we had this giant tragedy. One day, our dog food didn't pass the dog food taste test. They actually have this. There's this place you send your dog food to, and they have all these dogs that come taste it, and they rate your dog food, and we didn't pass. And it cost them a multi-million-dollar contract. So we had this big disaster we had to fix. We tried all kinds of things. We tried temperature changes. We tried product changes. We adjusted different things. And ultimately, it came down to one thing to get us back in the marketplace. This company came and said, "If you put 1% of this powder on the food, the dogs will eat it no matter what." And we're like, come on. They said, "You can put this stuff on cardboard and the dogs will eat it." So we tried it. And 8 out of 10 of the dogs went straight for our dog food. And I don't know what's in the powder. They didn't tell us, but it was something they had designed that they know dogs go crazy for. And I asked these guys, "Do they do this to human food?" And the people that sell this stuff were like, "Of course they do this to human food." And the crazy thing in the US on the labeling of packages, they've lobbied Congress to be able to call it natural flavorings. And as long as there's less than 2%, they can put all kinds of stuff in the food, and they call it in the food industry craveability. But what it really means is addictability. And so the food supply that you and I have been getting has things in it that we don't realize are in it because they don't have to label it. And it causes us to crave this stuff. It causes us to go crazy for it. It causes us to be hungry for it. And that's why the deck is stacked against us in aligning with power in our physical body. So what we need to do, in my opinion, is we need to get back to the natural laws of food. And I look at this and I look at the 100-year rule. I say, if I could have eaten this 100 years ago, like this marketplace, it looks like a marketplace would have looked like 100 years ago, except you wouldn't have had this horrible music playing or loud horns honking or things like that. But it's basically the same thing. If you could have consumed it in this form 100 years ago, then it's probably okay for you to consume now. And I try to fill at least 80% of my diet with that. And I still have other stuff. I'm not a fanatic about this. But what happens is when we start to fill ourselves with what we actually need, there's less need for those things that don't serve us. I don't believe that the solution is just to withhold and put those things away and resist cravings. I think that's a recipe for disaster. I think what we do is we fill ourselves with what we actually need, and then we don't have this need to escape or to use food to suppress our feelings or all these other things that we use food for. So I'm going to invite you to take a look at your diet, and I'm going to talk about some of the aspects of our eating habits and the way we're designed as human beings so that you can align with this power in your life and experience it for yourself. I've created a little cheat guide for you that helps you understand how to align your life with the 7 natural laws of power, and particularly number 2, which is mastering this primal instinct. So if you'd like to get that, just click on the button on this page and you'll get access to that, and you can start to live the 7 natural laws today.